Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of the Taking the Point Show. I hear an echo. Who's playing in the background? One of
JJ.
you. One of you two. Anyways, Coach Jay, what's going on, man? How you doing? How was your week?
I'm doing good. How your Cavaliers doing? I like that shirt.
Thank you. We're 3-4. We're finally healthy though, so we're 3-4. We're finally healthy.
JJ, how the Magic doing?
We're 4-3.
Yeah, there you go.
It's early.
So
JJ, shout out to JJ. FAU's in action tonight. JJ, I think they're what, -6.5. Are you taking them to cover tonight?
I have them in a parlay on the money line. That's it. Nothing crazy.
Gotcha.
I don't know what Sister Jean has up her sleeve.
We're gonna see. It's on the road, right? It's not at FAU.
It's still in Chicago, so it's like their home turf, really. But it's like an invitational. It's the Barstool Invitational. So I think we should win. But Loyola hasn't been anything last couple of years. So
well, best of luck tonight, JJ. Shout out to Lockerverse, by the way, guys. If you guys are new, Lockerverse is now hosting our show, so shout out to them. Great guys over there. Let's get into the overall records real quick, guys. 2 in a row. All right, I know I'm hauling the wagon at the bottom, but last week's record was in parentheses. JJ, man, 11-16-1. You want to walk us through what might have happened last week there?
it was a bad week, man. Like, I didn't even want to come on and give out plays on my personal Twitter. It was a tough week. There were a lot of good games, or a couple ones that I kind of sprinkled on, but for the most part, they were tough. I tried to go, off the wall a little bit. I tried to stay off the public side, and the public ate this week, as you can see, because you finally won a week again. So there's that for you.
2 in a row. Coach Jay, you're still, Peter, if you want to put those records back up one more time. Jay, you're still crushing it, 140, 112, and 3. Thoughts on last week, Jay? I know you said earlier over-unders killed. Are you going to improve this week there?
Yeah, I'm going to improve there, Grant. Over-unders are hard to pick on a Wednesday because you never know what the weather's going to be like on a Sunday or who's starting exactly at quarterback. I like to figure out who's playing for the over-unders, but the games, I think I'm doing pretty good.
We'll see how it goes. Let's show the playoff picture here so far. Coach, I want to come to you here. As you guys can see, through week 9, here's the playoff picture. You've got the NFC on the left, AFC on the right. Every single AFC North team is currently in the playoffs. That has never happened before in the history of the NFL, and I highly doubt it happens this year. They still got to all play each other. But Coach Jay, looking at this, give me one team from the NFC that's currently in a playoff spot that you don't think will be there at the end of the year. Is it the Vikings because they had a quarterback injury? One team in the NFC that won't be in there at the end of the year that's in there now.
I'd probably lean towards the Vikings, but really, I don't know who else is going to step up and take that. Is it going to be the Commanders? I don't know who else can. The Rams, they're struggling, obviously. I don't know what other team in the NFC can come up and grab that. The Bears obviously won't. The Giants obviously won't. So I think that's pretty accurate right now, description of who's going to be there come playoff time.
JJ, thoughts on every single AFC North team currently being in the race again? I know it's never happened before, but could this be the year that some magic finally happens and every team gets in, or do you just not see it?
No, I think Pittsburgh's going to fall off. I thought you were going to go with Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh. I think the AFC.
He said NFC, JJ. He said NFC.
Oh, no, I know that. Oh, you only picked the NFC? I thought you said the whole playoff picture.
No, NFC. Coach is on it.
Oh, well,
Coach is on it.
Well, no, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to get in. I think Browns figure out a way to get it in. I think Bengals find a way to get in, but not the Steelers.
Thoughts on Will Levis? I know we're going to get to it, JJ, but
I'm saying not the Browns or Steelers.
So you think 2 out of 4 AFC North teams are getting in? That's correct, I would assume.
Yep.
We'll see. Let's get into the picks because there's a lot to talk about. Go back and forth. Tomorrow, one of the worst Thursday night football games of all time, although all Thursday night games are usually pretty shitty. Panthers at Bears. I, myself, as well as Coach Day are on the Bears. Tyson Bagent is going to start again this week. That didn't play into my pick. But Coach Jay, I'm going to come back here. Did you know this news earlier when you made this pick that there was going to be no Justin Fields?
I didn't care. I still think the Bears are better right now. Carolina's struggling both sides of the ball, and I think Chicago's playing pretty good defense right now. They're stopping the run. Carolina doesn't run the ball extremely well. Obviously, they're struggling with the passing game, so I think Chicago really is playing above where they're supposed to be. Carolina's playing below where they're supposed to be. So I take it Chicago. They're playing hard. They're playing physical. They're playing tough. They can run the football, and they can stop the run. In a game with these two teams of quality, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to stop the run. That's why I'm taking Chicago.
Let's just hope Tyson Bagent doesn't throw 3 more interceptions this week. JJ, you're on the Panthers to cover. Is Bagent going to throw 3 more?
I think so. I mean, both of these quarterbacks are bad. I mean, if you look at this game, I mean, we're in for a treat. I mean, this could be the worst football game of the entire season, and we get it on Thursday Night Football. So I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to bet on it and make it look like a Super Bowl. But check this out. I think last week, my dad's so proud. Last week, I mean, Bryce Young couldn't move the ball. The Colts statistically are in the bottom 10 in every defensive category, pretty much except on third downs. And they made Bryce Young look confused, stupid. Tyson Bagent now, you get to watch Tyson Bagent. You don't really have an identity on Chicago, really, besides maybe DJ Moore. He struggled. He had a fumble. I'm not really sure what we're going to see at either of these teams, but just based on how bad both of them are, I really feel like this game should be a pick 'em. I just want the insurance and take the 3.5 in my back pocket, and hopefully this game just comes down to a field goal.
Coach Jay, is it too early to say that the Panthers got to be super salty that they took Bryce Young over CJ Stroud? I mean, CJ Stroud's incredible. Is it too early to make that claim that they got to be just upset at themselves?
No, it's not too early. It's really not, because CJ Stroud is a baller. And nothing against Bryce Young, but clearly CJ Stroud is a better player than Bryce Young. He throws the ball accurately on time. He's got a quick whip. He's got a great command of the offense already. So, yeah, CJ Stroud is a lot better than Bryce Young. Sorry, I got to say it.
I'm with you. I'm glad we share like-minded there. Speaking of JJ, going to these primetime games, man, you're going to have to make every primetime game look like a Super Bowl because you've got Panthers-Bears Thursday night, Germany's Colts-Patriots, which we're about to jump into. Sunday night is Jets-Raiders, and then Broncos-Bills. I mean, primetime this week, this has to be one of the worst weeks of primetime football we've had all season and in a long time. But let's go into it, JJ. I'm coming back to you. Colts-Patriots. Again, this game is in Germany. Everyone is on the Patriots to cover here. JJ, thoughts on the Patriots. I mean, we're sitting at 2-7. I know earlier in the year you said that I believe what their win total was 5.5 or 6.5. I believe you took their under. So it's looking strong there. I did hear a rumor that if the Patriots lose this game, we could be potentially moving on from Bill Belichick. Is that the worst rumor of all time? Possibly. But thoughts on this game, JJ?
Well, didn't he just sign? I thought he signed a contract extension a couple weeks ago.
I think he did too.
Yeah, I saw that. So I don't think he's going to be stepping away unless he's trying to get some money or something, maybe be a consultant. I don't think he's going to be stepping away. But this is a good game for New England to kind of bounce back. Like I said earlier, the Colts defensively, they're not very good. This could be a good opportunity for Mac Jones to kind of take advantage of a bad defense and maybe jumpstart that lack of an offense that New England has. So with that being said, I think the New England run defense is above average. That's where the Colts really succeed, is on the run. And if they can't get a run game going, they're going to have to rely on Gardner Minshew to make some throws. And being in New England, it might be a tough environment for him. That's why I like New England here at home.
In Germany, but
oh yeah, in Germany. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, fans will be crazy for New England and Germany. Oh,
Coach Jay, I just received a text. Love Coach Jay, but he loves bitching about making picks on a Wednesday. We're gonna have to see how sharp he can. We're gonna have to see how sharp he can be this week, picking on a Wednesday, because it's probably gonna be the case for the foreseeable future, unless we can make some schedule changes. But Coach, thoughts on this? On the surface, what seems to be a pretty ugly Germany game.
Yeah, this is a tough one, really. I like to take star power, which I should have taken Indianapolis because at least they have Jonathan Taylor. But I took New England because they're coming off a tough loss, and Mac Jones is going to play a little bit better. They're going to be able to run the ball against Indianapolis, I hope, and I think it'll be a low-scoring game, and I think New England wins by a field goal or a touchdown. I just think Bill Belichick will get this team rallied. The troops will be rallied, and they'll beat Indianapolis. I'm not convinced on Indianapolis being a very good football team, nor New England. It's hard to pick these games with two below-average football teams because you never know which one's going to show up. Usually the one that comes out early has a little juice early, has some success early, maintains that and wins the game. So I'm taking New England. Hopefully they get out on a fast track and score quickly and put Indianapolis in a passing situation type game, and they get after Gardner Minshew.
I'm with you. I'm taking Bill Belichick over the Colts, and I'm taking Mac Jones over Gardner Minshew, albeit both of them are not great. The next game on the slate's an interesting one. I'm going to give you the chance to call an audible here, Coach Jay, because you called a couple audibles last week. I see you're on the Bengals -7, just like everybody else, and everyone's on the over, so it's a clean sweep, and I hate clean sweeps. But Jamar Chase didn't practice today, nor did T. Higgins. So, Coach, are you going to stick with your guns, Or, I mean, if those two don't play, I mean, Jamar Chase, if I had to say today, probably not going to play because of that back injury. T. Higgins, I don't know. But, I mean, if you're missing those two top weapons, you get the red-hot Texans with C.J. Stroud. This game could be close, right, Coach?
Can. I'm going audible. That's my audible. I'm going to go to Houston if those guys are out. Those are two huge weapons now. I mean, seriously, that's why you got to look at the injury report. They're going to go from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to who?
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd's going to be a slot, right? Who else do they have? Come on. I'm taking Houston. Houston's playing. I was really torn on this pick as it was. And if you take out Higgins and Jamar Chase, now it's an easy for me. I'm taking Houston all day long. Houston, I've been on Houston the whole time. They could put up some points. I know they're going against a better defense. I do like Lou Anamurillo and the Cincinnati Bengal defense. They got two good edge rushers. They got a DJ Reader in the middle. He can stop the run. They got two excellent linebackers and their cover guys. They can do a lot of different things schematically. I do love their defense. That's why I took Cincinnati initially. But without the firepower of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I'm going to flip it. Think it's going to be a close game and a lower scoring game, and I think Houston can cover.
I'm going to stay where I'm at, JJ. I'm not going to call an audible regardless of who plays. I want to see CJ Stroud, regardless if both of those don't play. I mean, going into Cincinnati is a tough atmosphere for a rookie quarterback. I know CJ Stroud is absolutely just eating stuff up right now. He's one of the best quarterbacks statistically in the NFL as a rookie. But JJ, whether those two play or not, are you calling the audible or are you not? Which one are you going with?
I feel like, I'm just betting on one of them to play. At the end of the day, I'm not going to call an audible. I would still put the bet in just because I think that one of them are going to play. I think this division race is too tough. Shoot them up with some cortisone and get them out there. Let them play at ball. I just think that Jamar Chase and someone's going to have to step up there. That division's way too close. They're going to play. That 7 points too is just so high as well from looking at a red-hot Houston team that people are probably going to want to back C.J. Stroud and the Texans, but I just don't see it here. The Bengals are clicking on all cylinders. They just beat a good Bills team at home. I think they continue to roll.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point, right? Is they're last in the division. I know they're 5-3 with the Browns, but they are last in the division. They don't have the tiebreakers, so they got to start winning ball games. I mean, again, the AFC North starts to play each other here soon. The Browns have two in the AFC North. I know the Bengals have some coming up, but they're in last place.
We have Trenton Irvin and Andrea Iosabas.
That's the rookie.
Yeah.
If I'm with JJ, though,
I'm thinking Houston.
If one of those two receivers plays, I think they'll be all right. Like, Coach, what if T. Higgins plays and Jamar Chase doesn't play? You still taking Houston?
I'm taking Houston if Jamar Chase is out. How's that?
Okay. That dumbs it down. It sounds so much better. Coach, no Jamar Chase, no Bengals. Here we go.
Correct.
Saints, Vikings. Shout out Josh Dobbs, absolute legend. I'm not believing in the fairy tale story this week, though. I saw the Josh Dobbs thing last week, and it was very similar, in my opinion, to the Baker Mayfield when he went to the Rams and ended up coming back and winning that game. Those things happen in fairy tales, but they don't happen a couple weeks in a row. The Saints are the better team all around, especially without their quarterback. JJ, I'm coming to you here. Obviously, everyone's on the Saints to cover, and when we're making these graphics, a lot of us have similar picks. A couple are different, so that scares the absolute crap out of me. But JJ, how are you feeling in this game? It is in Minnesota, but Josh Dobbs probably dials it back this weekend. What is a pretty good Saints defense?
Well, I got a treat for you guys because I've only done this once so far this year, and it was a couple of weeks ago when we were in Cleveland, and I put my nuts on the table for a play. I'm putting my nuts on the table again for this play. I love New Orleans. I think New Orleans is going to win this game easily. Just Josh Dobbs coming in, new system. They're going against a defense that has the most takeaways in the NFL right now in 18. I think that they're going to continue to do that. They struggled a little earlier in the game last week against the Bears. Cole Kmet had a hell of a catch, but in the second half, they held the Bears at 3 points, which they should have pretty much done the whole game. But then also going into Minnesota, I mean, Dobbs is going to be without Osborne. He's not going to have KJ Jefferson. They lost Cam Akers. They lost a lot of offensive firepower. I don't know what's really going to happen with that team. And he's still trying to learn everybody's name, for God's sakes. I just think that the Saints, too, they want to take that step. They are in the lead of the NFC South, but why not go 2 games ahead and solidify yourself in the South as one of the top teams?
Coach, JJ is 1-0 with nuts on table. Will he make it 2-0?
I think so. I do. I think Minnesota's going to come out, play with a lot of motion. Josh Dobbs does some good things with his legs. Now, Atlanta, for some reason, on 4th and 7, played 2-man against Josh Dobbs, who already had 50 yards rushing. He rushes for another first down and 25. I mean, one of the worst calls in NFL history. But I do think New Orleans defense is pretty damn good. They'll give Josh and the Minnesota Vikings trouble, whoever their quarterback would be. And I think Minnesota's defense will have trouble with Alvin Kamara and the rest of the guys for the Saints offense. So I'm thinking of Saints. I think they had like 25 plays in the red zone last week, only got 3 points or something crazy like that. I think they do better in the red zone, and I think they figure it out and have a big win.
We all agree there on that game. The next game on the slate is interesting to me. Packers-Steelers. Coach Jay, I heard Renegade on Thursday Night Football last week. That probably scared Will Levis. Couldn't lead a comeback drive. Probably did, right? You're the only one on the Steelers this week. 5-3. The Steelers are 5-3. I don't know how. Mike Tomlin, great NFL head coach, clearly just knows how to win ball games. But you got to walk us through the Steelers covering. I know we were just ripping on Jordan Love last week, but he had a good week against the Rams last week, so I think that's why
He really didn't.
What?
He really didn't. He's not very good. The Packers are struggling mightily on offense. I know they got to get Aaron Jones going, and obviously Dillon. They just can't do it against Pittsburgh defense. So they're going to rely on Jordan Love to throw the ball to who? Dobbs, Dubes, Musgrave. I think Pittsburgh at home is going to be a really tough game for Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay offense. And I think really Matt Canada might get this Pittsburgh Steeler offense going, might even put up 21, 24 points. And there's no way the Green Bay Packers can match that. Not at Pittsburgh, not with TJ Watt and them big boys for the Steelers.
So 20 for 26, 228 yards and a touchdown isn't a good game?
No.
Is that what? It's 150.
The Rams are all beat up.
Oh, you were just taking the Rams last week. That's a good game. 115 pass rating. That's a decent game, right, Coach?
That's pretty good. Yeah, he's getting better. But I just don't think you can do it at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a tough place to play for these cats, man. I just think TJ Watt coming off the edge, it's going to be a little scary for old Jordan Love. This isn't Utah State, my friend. This is at Pittsburgh. This is the AFC North, the best conference in football.
Come on, JJ. Put nuts on the table for Jordan Love and the Packers here. Talk him out of the Steelers pick here. I'm with you.
There's no way I'm putting nuts on the table for Jordan Love. First and foremost, there's no chance. I just think this line's a little fishy.
Trap?
I think this should be a lot higher. I think the Steelers should be like -6, even though
they
I don't
can't score 6 points hardly. I think 3.5 was a stretch. I'm hoping they win like 10-3.
I think this is gonna be a field goal game though. That's why I took the hook. I mean, the 3.5. I think it's just gonna come down to a field goal. You know what I mean? I don't know what's gonna happen, but Jordan Love, I just going into Pittsburgh, it's gonna be tough, man. He can't do. But how can we back Jordan Love though? Really, at the end of the day, but it's just this line is just so weird. It's so weird.
We're back,
Jordan, right? Who'd you take, JJ?
I took the Packers. I know. It's just a weird line. That's the only reason why I'm on it. I wouldn't bet this game.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. Man, Jordan Love will be shaking in his boots, man. There's no way.
Stop it. We're back in Jordan Love because the Steelers are 5-3, and somehow they're 5-3 when they've been outgained every damn week. That trend can't continue, and this week is the week that it comes to an end. Packers money line, F the 3.5.
Coming down from the gallows and come on.
F the 3.5. Packers money line. Titans Bucks next game on the slate. Will Levis is finally QB1 in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill, 5 years too late, is now benched. JJ. Will Levis looks like the truth, man. He's going into Tampa. I know the Bucs are 3-5. Baker's not playing as bad as a 3-5 record, although they're losing games. Heartbreaker last week against the Texans, 45 seconds away from being 4-4. JJ, walk me through the Will Levis cover on the road. Another big test on the road for the rookie in Tampa Bay.
I just think the Bucs it's going to be too hard for the Bucs to overcome their loss last week. They're starting on that losing trail. I talked about it last week where these guys are going to probably miss their win total, and these are the games that they're going to start to lose, right? I know the Titans are a team that they should be able to beat, especially being at home, but Will Levis is playing great football. Titans defense looks good too. They got Derrick Henry. They got a lot of ways that they could beat you. DeAndre Hopkins is playing good finally with a quarterback that actually throws in the football. There's a lot of things that could hurt you in Tennessee offense that people really underestimate because Tannehill's been the quarterback. So now that they have someone that looks like they can actually run the offense, it's going to be tough for them to be beaten. And I think that this is a great spot to take Tennessee. I really like this play today or on Sunday.
Coach Jay fading Baker Mayfield in the Buccaneers again. Will Levis, he looks good, Coach. Evaluation on Will Levis. Let's hear it.
Well, yeah, it's too early to tell, Grant. I mean, he's played 2 games. But the thing that worries me is the strength of Tennessee's offense is the ability to run the football, and that's the strength of Tampa Bay's defense. Now, Tampa Bay's secondary might be the worst I've ever seen. Last week was it was really, really, really bad against Houston. They just got Holy cow, 470 yards to CJ Stroud, who's a good player, don't get me wrong, but 470? 470? That's a lot. Now, I don't know if Will Levis could put up those kind of numbers, but I think he could do enough, and Derrick Henry will get going. They're going to have to play more shell coverage, and Todd Bowles are going to have to dial it in a little bit so they protect the corners. That'll open it up for Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry will get going, and the Tennessee Titans get the victory.
I love Will Levis. It is probably too early to obviously evaluate him 2 games, but what he's shown, I mean, he looked poised going into Pittsburgh. I mean, they almost won the game. I know he didn't put up the best stats numbers, threw a pick late in the game, but he just had to throw it in the end zone. But he looked good. He didn't look like a rookie. He looked like a guy who had at least been there before. 49ers, Jaguars. Next game on the slate. 49ers, I'm the only one taking the Jags. The Jags look like the better football team. They just do. And Trevor Lawrence looks like and is the better quarterback. I'm fading Brock Purdy until the brakes fall off. JJ, does your boy get back on track this week? Deebo Samuel's coming back, so that's going to help him because, as we know, Brock Purdy can't perform well without his weapons, so he needs them. They're winning on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trent Williams is coming back too. They're getting a lot of their guys coming back, right? So, I mean, this is a game, again, they're coming off a 2-game losing skid. They're coming off a bye week. I know they're on the road, but this is a must-win game, I think, in my opinion, for the 49ers to keep them on track to being one of the top teams in the NFC. They could still very much still win out there. I mean, they have a tough schedule coming up. I know they got to go up against Kansas City. I know they got to go up against a couple other teams that are going to be that are pretty tough. But this is a game that I think that they should capitalize on, right? From the opponents that they do have coming up, this is one that they should get. I think they get it. They find a way to get it done on the road, especially after the rest, getting the guys back. I like the 49ers.
No KC, but they do have the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Ravens. So
Eagles.
it is a tough schedule down the stretch. Coach Jay, you're on the 49ers in a get-right game in Jacksonville?
It's a tough game, really. When in doubt, I usually take AFC over NFC, but this was an exception. AFC is way better than NFC with a couple exceptions, but I just think with the week off and San Francisco coming, getting their guys healthy, Deebo and Trent, like JJ said, I just think they're going to be a little bit too much. But I do like the Jacksonville Jaguar team. I like the way they play defense. I like the way they play offense. They have a lot of weapons. ETM's a hell of a player. Christian Kirk, obviously Ridley. They're pretty damn good. This game could go either way. This is not a game that I would bet on. This is a game that I would love to watch, though. But if I had my choice, I would take San Francisco to win the football game.
JJ, something you said, must win for the 49ers. I didn't think we'd be saying this in week 10 with how their season was started, but it is a must win. I
think it's a must win. I think it's a big game. You heard the schedule coming up. They got to go against the Eagles. They got to go against the Ravens. They got a tough schedule. They got to go against the Seattle Seahawks. They got a tough schedule coming up. This is
if they lose,
they gotta win.
If they lose, they're 5-4. Coach, all of a sudden they're 5-4.
The Seahawks are like 5-3 right now. I mean,
yeah, and they're in the lead of the division. They're up. They had.
I would say it's a must-win week 10. Okay.
There's only like 8 games left, man. There's only 7 or 8 games left.
We'll take your word for it, Coach. But I'm leading JJ here. I think it's pretty damn close to a must-win in week 10 for Brock Purdy. Next game on the slate's a big one. The Cleveland Browns. My Cleveland Browns are going to Baltimore, and I'm so glad I'm not alone. Thank you, JJ. Before I get into this with Coach Jay, because I know we're going to probably get into it here, tell me why you are on the Cleveland Browns to go into Baltimore and beat or cover at least against the Baltimore Ravens.
I think they cover, Grant. I don't think they win. They are 2-6. Their last 8 meetings against Baltimore. So let's not get carried away. But I think that's just too many points for a divisional game against the 2 top-ranked defenses in the NFL. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a great AFC North game. We saw last week too. Their offense was coming together a little bit. There were some explosive plays. You saw Amari Cooper get involved. He had like 130 yards and a touchdown or whatever it was, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he went off, and I think this is a good spot for them to kind of capitalize on that offense and try to get things rolling offensively. So maybe we'll see what happens here, but I think this is just too many points in the divisional game.
All right, Coach. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to show a graphic real quick. Remember when I said the Dolphins had to beat a good team to be legit? They didn't. This is who the Ravens have played so far. Disclaimer, the Ravens are a damn good football team, and Lamar Jackson is a damn good quarterback. I just want to get your thoughts on this, Coach. They've played C.J. Stroud first game of his career, 35 minutes of an injured Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew, DTR, Kenny Pickett, Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff, Josh Dobbs, Geno Smith. How does this make you feel, Coach? If any way, if not, do you just think that the Ravens steamroll the Browns here?
After this week, there'll be a little graphic, Deshaun Watson down there. So the next team will be excited. That'll be another team that hasn't had a quarterback either. Is that right? Deshaun Watson had 2 good plays last week. One was a go ball to Amari Cooper. The other one was a post corner to Amari Cooper. The touchdown he threw to Amari Cooper should have been a pick 6. Did you see that one, Grant?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
To Amari Cooper, and a safety was sitting there waiting for it. It got tipped at the line of scrimmage and bounced over the safety's head, and Amari caught it. All right,
Hey, Coach.
Your offense is terrible.
Hey, guess what, Coach? In games Deshaun Watson starts, the Browns are 4-1, a plus 69-point differential. Games he doesn't start, they're 1-2 with a negative 27-point differential. He makes a difference, okay?
I'm not going to say he doesn't make a difference. I mean, most starting quarterbacks, when you go to the starter to the backup, obviously it should be like that because you paid the guy $600 million. He better be good. I mean, I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm just saying he's not as good as Lamar Jackson, right? That's all I'm saying. The Baltimore defense is smothering people. They play a lot of zone. They play man. They play fire zone. They do a lot of different things on defense to confuse you. They're not going to be able to run the ball with Ford around the corner, Joku blocking the defensive ends for the Ravens. It's not going to happen. They're going to force Deshaun Watson to throw, and that's not good. And then Baltimore's offense, really, they can hit you. They can pound you. They're physical, and they can finesse you with Lamar and his speed. I really like the Ravens. I think we're one of the best teams in the NFL right now, and I think they're clearly the better football team. That's why I took the Ravens.
You can't argue with the fact that they're the better football team. I will say, everything aside, this is a huge game. If Deshaun Watson comes out in this game and balls out, it's a statement win, then you're going to be seeing a different tune next week. I'm sure we can assume that, correct?
Yeah, I got to see Deshaun do it. I like Deshaun. I think he's a heck of a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's to the level right now that he has to beat the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are really good on defense, and they're really good on offense. That's why I took the Ravens.
All very, very fair. It's a huge game. And again, the Browns are already struggling in the division record a little bit. They dropped the one to the Ravens already, and the Steelers are the 1-2. So it's a huge game all around. Falcons, Cardinals. We're going to go ahead and move on here. This game, Kyler Murray is back. Call of Duty is back in a couple weeks, and I'm feeling good. I'm telling you what, it's going to take some time for Kyler Murray to get back up to game speed after tearing the ACL there. But Coach Jay, talk to me now. You seem to be excited. You're taking the Cardinals to cover. The Falcons aren't great, but in Arizona, I think this is a great chance indoors in Arizona at your home field for Kyler Murray to come back and be effective enough. I've taken him to cover, but I think Coach, I think the Cardinals could win this game outright at home.
They could. I think Cardinals win it. I took the Cardinals. I think Atlanta's struggling right now. We need to call timeout, introduce your team to your best player. That's Bijan Robinson. Let's get him the ball for God's sakes. And Drake London. Those are your 2 best players, but they won't give them the ball for some reason. And defensively, I just think they're struggling. And I think Kyler Murray can run in the pocket a little bit, like Josh Dobbs just crushed them for 50 yards rushing. Maybe Atlanta will play 2-man against Kyler Murray. I'd love to see that. So Kyler Murray can run for 100 yards on you too as well. So I'm taking Arizona. I'm taking Kyler Murray. Hopefully he's got the playbook ready to roll. He's got a new system. I want to see him roll. I like the way Arizona plays. I still think they play hard despite their record. They play extremely hard on both sides of the ball. They play well against the run. And I'm thinking Arizona with Kyler Murray gives them a little jump start, a little juice. Arizona plays well.
I'm right there with you, JJ. You're not, however. You are taking the Atlanta Falcons to cover -1.5 and win this game. So let's hear why. Are the 1-8 Cardinals not going to play hard enough this week to get it done?
I think Kyler Murray's going to be a little rusty. I think that Bijan's going to come out. I think Drake London, I think they're going to get involved more. Taylor Heineke did bring a little spark. They didn't play too bad offensively. I mean, they scored 28 points last week. So, I mean, let's not count that offense quite out yet. But again, we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals here. I mean, their win total was 4.5. You're going to be -1.5. The backs are against the wall for the Falcons right now. They got to win this game. This is a must win. Because you got the Saints ahead of you right now. They're playing against the Vikings and the Josh Dobbs team. You can expect them to win that ball game. You got to stay in pace with them. They got to win this game, especially against a team like Arizona. You got to bounce back. You have to bounce back this week.
Is this a must win, Coach, for the Falcons, or no, because it's week 10?
Doesn't matter. They're out of it. They're not good enough.
That could be the NFC team that comes back. They play against They play against they play against the Panthers again. They play against the
Not gonna
Bucks.
happen.
I mean,
I can't forgive them for playing 2-man on 4th and 7 against Josh Dobbs. I can't forgive them. That's going to live in my brain forever. How do you play 2-man on 4th and 7 against a quarterback who just got there, who can run? It makes no sense. I'm not going to forget it.
Is it a fireable offense for running 2-man? Is it a fireable
I'm not
offense?
going to say anybody should get fired because I've been fired. It's not fun, but it is a punishable offense.
Yeah, I was amazed at that whole game, that whole outcome. I was just nothing but amazed. Lions Chargers.
Wait, hear me out real quick.
Wait.
The Falcons got the Cardinals this week. They play against the Saints at home, so that's a big game for them too. They got the Jets. They play the Bucks. They play the Panthers. They got the Colts. They got the Bears, and they got the Saints again. They could literally go. They could probably lose
100%. I just can't get over 2-man on 4th and 7. They were my survivor pick, the Falcons, for God's sakes, last week.
Yeah, who are you picking this week, Coach? Oh, wait, you're out too.
I'm out of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Let's move on. Here we go. Next game on the slate. Lions Chargers. It's weird because, as we all know, I like to, shit talk and be very critical of Justin Herbert, but I'm taking him at home against the Lions. He looked good last week. I know they didn't have to do too much because it was a blowout on Monday Night Football. They're really banged up at receivers, so somebody's going to have to step up. JJ, you're with me. You're taking the Chargers to cover at home. Talk about a must-win. The Chargers got to keep winning. It might not be a must-win, but 4-4 in that loaded AFC, they got to keep winning ball games, JJ.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good spot for them too. They got them at home. They got the Detroit coming all the way from Michigan over to their home court, but home field. But I just like I like LA here. I think they got a spark going offensively. They did pretty well against the Jets. I'm not really
at 140 yards. They had
did all right.
140 yards of offense. They had a punt
think
return and they had a fumble. They got 1st and goal to 2. That's
The
how
Jets
they scored their 2 touchdowns.
The Jets defense is good, but are you taking the Jets
I
defense?
didn't mean to interrupt you, JJ. That was disrespectful. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I deserve that one. I definitely deserve that one. But no, I just think the Chargers. I think they're rolling right now. I just think they're rolling. I think that this could be a team that makes the AFC. I think this is going to be one of the teams that replace the Steelers or the Browns that we were talking about earlier.
Coach Jay taking the Lions, the Detroit
Not
Lions
so
on the road.
fast, my friend. The Lions are better. They're more physical. They play better defense. They got more weapons on offense. Their blueprint for success really took shape against the Raiders. I know it's the Raiders, but they ran the ball for 225 yards. Obviously, Gibbs and my man Reynolds ran the ball extremely well. Now that opens up for Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, all the things that he really wants to do with Jared Goff, and that's the play pass, the bootlegs. They're going to be a very dangerous team moving forward. I love the way they rush the passer. I just don't think the Chargers have enough weapons other than Keenan Allen and the running back, Austin Eckler. That's all they have. That's all they have. If I had a fantasy football team, I would draft Austin Eckler and Keenan Allen because that's the only 2 guys that can get the ball. I think Detroit does enough to stop those 2 guys and make them have somebody else. Quentin Johnson, is he going to step up and beat them? I don't think so. So I think Detroit's a damn good football team despite what happened in Baltimore. I think they're physical up front on both sides of the ball. They have good defensive backs. They have good receivers. They have a good quarterback that manages the game, and they got an outstanding running back that's going to get fed in Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think Detroit is a really, really strong play for me this week.
The Lions are a good football team, but looking at their schedule, Coach, I mean, they really haven't beaten anybody great. They beat the Chiefs week 1 without Travis Kelce, boo-hoo. They beat the Falcons, Packers, Panthers, Bucks, and Raiders. So, I mean,
you got to play who you play. I mean, it's not their fault.
Yes, but it's then they go to Baltimore.
Cleveland beat, by the way, Grant.
They get the brakes beat off them by Baltimore. We're talking about the Lions right now, Coach. We're not talking about the Browns. We're talking about the Lions.
I mean, every team has to play these below average teams, but you got to beat them. I like the way they beat the Raiders. They physically mauled them, and that's their. I mean, I think the young players are starting to step up. The linebacker, the tight end, the running back, they're starting to get better and better. They have a physical offensive line. They have a couple good receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a monster. Josh Reynolds can hit you deep.
Good.
Laporte is a hell of a tight end working the slots. Jared Goff can manage the game, and I think Aaron Glenn's doing a great job of that defense.
You think they mauled the Raiders? I think Jimmy G, Christmas came early. He gift-wrapped a little win for them with the interceptions that he thrown. Good thing he got benched. Let's move on.
He had no time. He got hit every time he threw it. That's what's going to happen to Justin Herbert.
Let's move on here. Cowboys-Giants. This game is hideous. Remember now, the Cowboys already beat the Giants by like 40-0 with Daniel Jones. Everyone's taking them to cover -16, which is huge. JJ, you're on the under. So obviously, again, even if they score 40 points, They only clear that under by 1.5 points. I want to get a final score prediction here, JJ, because this game is just so weird. I feel like it warrants a final score prediction. I'm thinking Cowboys like 31-3, something like that.
Oh my God, dude, I was going right at that. I was gonna say 27-3. I don't think is DeVito's the starter again this week.
Yes.
Oh God.
Darren Waller's on the IR.
Oh.
It's talk about a train wreck of a season, Coach Jay. The Giants just paid Daniel Jones $140 million, unfortunately, towards ACL. Darren Waller got hurt. What is if you are in that Giants front office, like where do you even go from here?
Because I've been there, done that, Grant. I've had all my star players on the bench in the hot tub.
What do you do?
In the surgery, you get fired and you do a show called Taking the Points on a Wednesday night. That's what you do. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You have to play with your hand that's built. That's all you got to do. So, unfortunately, they have nothing that can really challenge the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, you're right. The over-under is the only issue here. Is it going to be 31-10? Will Danny DeVito get a touchdown late somehow to Wendell Robinson? I mean,
my favorite play about the Giants game last week is when they scored a touchdown, they went for 2 and they tried the Philly special and it just collapsed on them.
Poor Saquon Barkley, man. He signed a 1-year contract. He's like a Ferrari sitting in like East Cleveland right now. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare in New York. Well, I said 31-3, JJ, but I took the over. So
maybe they can run the ball and get some first downs, play a couple big tight ends, running some 13 personnel, and just try to hammer the Cowboys and eat up the clock and keep it close to like a 17-7 game. Who knows? But I took the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys like to pour it on teams too. Like when they have the opportunity to do so, they've done it a few times.
Usually it's because their defense and special teams pours it on. When they pour it on teams, they have 2 defensive touchdowns. I had their defense in fantasy football twice. They had like 40 points for me. So defensively, they can be dirty. But if Brian Dable says it ain't going to happen, we're just going to run the ball and get in 2 and 3 tight end sets. Maybe he'll play conservative and punt and not turn the ball over. Then I could see it being a little closer.
Yeah, I don't think that game is going to be remotely close. It's going to be, who's going to watch that game? If you're a Cowboys fan or if you're a Giants fan, but.
Real quick, the line's not out, I don't think yet, but if you had to set a line for Tommy DeVito's over-under passing yards for this game, what would you make it?
110. 110 and a half. What? I would.
I'm just saying that's like the lowest total I've ever heard.
Poor Tommy.
I wonder if it's probably going to be that low.
Poor Tommy DeVito. Sounds like the guy works at a fucking pizza shop or something. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's a weird name. It's ugly, man. It is ugly in New York. Let's go to a game that shouldn't be as ugly. The Commanders versus the Seahawks. Coach Jay, game. You haven't taken your Commanders lately, Coach. This is because they sold the farm.
Every time I take them, they get their ass whooped. And then when I don't take them, they win. So I'm trying to take against them so maybe they win. I'm pulling for the Commanders. What the hell? But Seattle, I think, bounces back. I mean, you saw what Detroit did when they got their ass beat by Baltimore. They came back and really laid it on the line and played well against Oakland and beat the hell out of them. I think Seattle does the same thing. I think getting Leonard Williams in, they'll help stop Brian Robinson in the running game of Washington. And I think they'll get their pass rush going a little bit. They have a good secondary when they do have to pass. Sam Howell's played excellent the last 2 weeks, by the way. I mean, really, really good. But I think Seattle's secondary at Seattle will pose a problem to them. And I think Geno Smith will get going against a secondary for Washington, who's gaining a little bit of momentum now. Ford's played better. Fuller's playing better. Cam Curl, these guys are playing better. But I think with Metcalf and Lockett and Njigbo, I think Seattle will come back and play better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. Geno's going to have all the time in the world to throw the ball because they just traded their best 2 players away. JJ, Geno Smith going to get back on track this week because he's been struggling the past 2 weeks, and they just got the brakes beat off him by Baltimore.
I think so. I love Sam Howell too. I think Sam Howell, we're going to be talking about him being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in the next couple of years. I think he's really, really good. He's poised in the pocket. He looks really good. He makes some really strong throws too, and he's good in the pocket. He can avoid rushers and still make those throws. But this is a game. If I was still going with Survivor, which I think I'm still going to go ahead and go for, I want to see how far I can go. I would take Seattle Seahawks here, coming off a bad loss. Going home, just what they needed. I think their defense is going to step up in a big, big way here. I'm not going to be a big fan this week of the offensive line for Washington. I think they're going to get after Sam Howell a little bit. And just depending on how he does under pressure is just going to determine it. And their secondary for Seattle is pretty good too. So Again, I like Sam Howell, but I just don't think that this is their week to get a win. I think Seattle wins by double digits.
JJ, the champion, Seahawks in the Survivor. Coach shaking his head. You made
I
it
go all the way
longer
to the Super Bowl, man. I have my teams too in the back pocket. I got some teams in my back pocket too.
as soon as JJ loses, maybe he'll restart for the rest of
I
the year.
got screwed. I didn't know Josh Dobbs was going to come in for the Vikings. I thought we were playing the
Act like you
BYU
would have
for it.
that made a difference, dude. He came in after like 3 days. He didn't even know anybody's names.
He knows enough. I mean, it's not that hard. You have 3 days to get the plays that you like and call the plays. I had Mark Sanchez and Josh Johnson do the same thing. It's not that hard. The guy's a nuclear scientist, for God's sakes.
Yeah, he's
That's true.
he's
It's
very
four verticals. You just call it different. It's not that big a deal.
What do we say if JJ loses? We'll run back Survivor the rest of the year. I got screwed too. I thought the Dolphins are frauds. You
didn't get screwed.
I'll let you guys back in. I will still survive after my first.
I don't want to play anymore. I quit.
He said it was
you won, JJ. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
The last 2 games on the slate are in prime.
You took Taylor Heineke.
I like Heineke.
I
bet against Hall from BYU. I didn't take Heineke. Go ahead, Grant.
Last 2 games on the slate are in prime time, and they're both not very appealing games. Jets at Raiders. Get you the girl the way Robert Saleh defends Zach Wilson. I mean, this guy could do no wrong in New York. JJ, you're on the Jets. Everyone's on the Jets. You're not a believer in, I believe, was it Kevin O'Connell? Is that their starting quarterback right now because they benched Jimmy G? Aiden, my bad. Aiden O'Connell. You're not a fan of him, and you're taking Zach Wilson to keep the Jets afloat, JJ?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, a rookie quarterback playing against his Jets defense. This is going to be a low-scoring game.
Yep.
Maybe Zach Wilson finally scores a little bit too. I mean, they could maybe, I don't know, Max Crosby's going to be coming after him too with that bad Jets offensive line. But no, I think the Jets pull this one off. Just they do it on the defensive side. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be close. Probably going to be a field goal game, but Jets find a way to do it. I didn't really like how Las Vegas was celebrating after the game, smoking cigars after being a Tommy DeVito led Giants team either. I wasn't a big fan of that, and I think it's going to turn around and bite them. And I think I could see Zach Wilson and the Jets smoking cigars after they beat the Raiders. It's going to be like a mocking kind of situation.
Yeah, what was that about? Coach, I want to get your thoughts on something. Antonio Pierce, new head coach in LA, actually had the practice squad on the sideline for this game. Never been done before. And he gave a pretty cool speech about it. He basically just said, long story short, right, they're part of the team. They go through practice all week. Thoughts on that approach? It seemed like a pretty, good, feel-good story. And then they went out and destroyed and won by like 30. So thoughts on having the practice squad on the sideline for that game?
Is
it
fine.
weird?
I mean, practice squad guys are on the team. Sometimes the issue is you have so many people on the sideline that it's there's nowhere to go. You add another 10 to 12 guys, practice squad guys standing there on the sidelines. You got to worry about them getting out of the way. You got the trainers, you got the assistant trainers, you got the strength coach, you got all the assistant coaches. There's a lot of people on the sideline. So sometimes teams will have their practice squad guys go up in the press box or what have you. But that's a great gesture, and it's very exciting for the Raiders. However, today or Sunday, they have to play the New York Jets defense, and I don't think they're going to get many yards. I'd say they'll get under 200 yards of offense. The Jets defense is legit. Those Williams guys, Quincy and Quinnen Williams, are legit monsters. So I just don't know how Aiden O'Connell is going to move the football. Josh Jacobs have already had trouble running the football this year. He ain't going to run it against the Jets. That's for damn sure. So I'm taking the Jets to score at least 13 points. I think that'll be enough.
And to JJ's point, what was with them celebrating like they won the Super Bowl after beating the Giants? Is that strange at all to be celebrating like that after a win?
It's anytime you get your first win as a head coach is exciting. However, their record isn't very good. They just fired a guy who was there and hired all those people in the first place. So there should be a little bit more humility or I don't know. I don't know what it is. I know that if I was hired by a guy and he just got fired, I'd be grateful for the opportunity. I wouldn't be smoking cigars in a locker room, but it is what it is. I mean, but it was his first win. So happy for Antonio to get his first win. It's not easy to win in the NFL, but moving forward, they're playing the New York Jets. I don't think they'll be smoking cigars this week.
If I was going to put a line on it, the Jets win this game, I'm going to put a line on it. I bet minus 200 that the Jets smoke cigars after the game in the locker room, kind of mock them.
Really?
I can see it happening now.
Imagine a video of Zach Wilson smoking a fat cigar after
Guarantee
the game. that clip would go viral for sure.
Yep.
Last game on the slate. Again, better than the Sunday Night Football in my opinion, but I am so far off of this Buffalo Bills wagon. It's not even funny. All right. I know they're due. I know they're probably going to come out angry and Josh Allen's going to be angry or whatever, but the Broncos beat the Chiefs. Weather, whatever. Patrick Mahomes had the flu, yada, yada. They won. All right. They're starting to put it together a little bit now. I believe they're 3-5. The Broncos are 1-2 on the road. The only thing that scares me here is that the Bills are so due for a win. And we keep saying must win like it's the number one thing to say in this world today. But for the Bills, 5-4 out of the playoff picture now, they got to win their games, especially against a team like the Broncos. JJ, do you think that this game's going to be remotely close? I know you're taking this -7.5. Do you think that Josh Allen comes out and lights it up here?
I think it's like the Bills have been one of those teams lately where you start to write them off, but then they kind of come back and they show you how fiery their offense is. And I'm looking at the over-under total, and I'm thinking that the Bills could surpass that total just by themselves on offense this week. It could be another one of those blowout type games. I think they get close to 40, if not more. I think they're going to figure it out a way. They're at home. They're going to get it done. Again, the Broncos defense isn't very good. They're going to be on the road. I think it's going to be loud. It's definitely going to be loud in Buffalo. That's why I think the Bills, they rally around their team and they get it done.
Coach Jay, is my Mickey Mouse horseship? Is it a Mickey Mouse horseship bet to take the Denver Broncos to cover 7.5 here?
No, I have been impressed with the way Denver's turned it on a little bit the last couple of weeks to hold Kansas City to 9 points or whatever it was. It was impressive. That's not easy to do. However, I'm just going with Buffalo because I think Josh Allen over Russell Wilson. I think the Bill Mafia, the Mafia mix, whatever it's called, is too much for Denver. It's a long trip. And I think Buffalo is still, despite the injuries to Milano and obviously Tre'Davious White, 2 Pro Bowl type players, I still think defensively with Poyer and Hyde, they can do a lot of different things that confuse Russ. And I think offensively, I think Josh Allen gets it going. I am concerned about the running attack or lack of running attack for Buffalo. They're putting too much on Josh Allen's plate right now. Every play is like it's an RPO, or should I pull it? Should I throw it? Should I scramble? What should I do? I wish they could just have a few plays where he could take a deep breath and hand the ball off to James Cook for gain of 9. But I'm taking a better team, and I think Buffalo's a better team, and Josh Allen is one hell of a player, and I think he turns it on this week.
I tell you what, if the Broncos win this game, people are going to be talking about them that they're entering now in the AFC. They'd be 4-5. Bills would be 5-5. But all right, boys, that wraps it up. 4 teams on a bye: Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Eagles. Hopefully you guys can finally win a week. I know I've won 2 in a row, but hopefully you guys can get back after it. JJ, again, crowning him a Survivor champion. He's on the Seahawks this week, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want a Survivor pick, if you have the Seahawks available, take them, right, JJ?
Yeah, easy dub. Or take the Saints. I think the Saints win easy too. But I had to use them last week.
All right, fellas, go Cavs tonight. Go FAU. Coach Jay, any teams rooting for in the NBA tonight? Any NBA plays?
Sacramento Kings.
You heard it here first. Sacramento Kings. All right, fellas. Catch you next week. Appreciate it.
Are they playing tonight?
Yeah, they are.